got to be a better way, right?
This will be the pantomime episode.
Yes. I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Comics Are Awesome, brought to you by Alter Ego Comics. We are here to talk about this week's best comics, and we thank you for joining us. If you are, in fact, joining us live on Facebook, or if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, or catching a replay on Facebook, or listening to it on as a podcast. So thank you.
Or if you're an archaeologist in the far future who's just decrypted what he assumed to be important data, we apologize.
In advance. Actually, this may hold the secret to humanity, to life
probably
on
not.
Other planets.
But maybe.
So if you are joining us for this live video, please let us know that you're here, and maybe where you're from, what your favorite color is, and because we want to say hi to you. Hey, Jess, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. So let's get to it. Let's talk about our favorite books of the week. Mine is... We have to hold them up now because we forgot last week and someone wasn't happy. My pick of the week is Amazing Spider-Man, whatever number that is, 797?
797.
797. This is it, ladies and gents. This is the end, the beginning of the end of Dan Slott's epic run on The Amazing Spider-Man. The first part of Go Down Swinging, and the secret is out, right, about who the Red Goblin
like it probably is. Yeah.
Okay, so... Norman Osborn does not have goblin powers anymore, but he's still crazy, and his face is all messed up, and I don't remember why. It was he was trying to restore his goblinicity, and somehow ended up looking like the Elephant Man. I don't remember. But he has figured out a way to bypass science and nature and everything, and has bonded with Carnage. Or I should say with the Carnage symbiote. So we now have the Red Goblin. And this is the first kind of... Actually, we haven't even seen still the first full appearance. That we've been building to it. But I will say that the Red Goblin claims his first victim in this issue. He's had other victims, but people you don't really know or care about. But there is a named victim in this issue. This was a heart-pounding... suspense-filled issue for me. I really enjoyed it. Stuart Immonen is back for Dan Slott's Swan Song here, so we had some amazing artwork to look at. A fantastic cover by Alex Ross, and more Parker Luck. Parker Luck is here. It was just great. I can't wait to see where this goes. So this will be running through issue number 800. 800 will be the finale, and then 801 kicks off Nick Spencer's run on The Amazing Spider-Man. How do you feel about that?
Nick Spencer? I like Nick Spencer in all of his works, so...
Yes, I do too.
I'm there.
I've been very pleased with Marvel's announcements of creative teams, although they're not really changing that much on a few of them. But I'm very curious to see what happens. I am intrigued. But The Amazing Spider-Man 797 should intrigue you as well. It is my pick of the week and was awesome.
Yeah, and I would argue if you are a longtime Spider fan but haven't been reading Slott's run, you could probably jump in here. And once you figure out that Osborn's got the Carnage symbiote, you can kind of follow it and enjoy it. There's a lot of things here for longtime fans.
Yeah, if you've been away for a while, come on back. Join the party.
Get ramped up to 700. 800? What are we on?
Yeah, as we head towards 800. I just happen to be looking at the March catalog, and there are lots of anniversary issues in the world of Marvel coming up. We've got Iron Man 600, Spider-Man 800, Despicable Deadpool 300 right around the corner. Doctor Strange will be hitting a centennial issue, or what do you call it's like 600, 500, maybe 500 for Doctor Strange.
It might be 700.
We'll see. Stay tuned. We're just babbling at this point about Marvel 100 issues and Marvel math. If you like Marvel math, give us a thumbs up.
Tell us why. First up for me this week is Oblivion Song, number 1 from the Skybox imprint over at Image.
Skybound.
Oh, it's Skybound.
Yes.
What the heck does that mean? I know what a skybox is. What's a skybound? Is that
know.
like when you jump into the sky, it's a bound?
I think
or is it
you're
like,
bound
are they
for
tied
the
up?
sky.
They tied up in the sky?
You're bound for the sky.
There's
it's like
guy,
a rocket.
Yeah, there's a guy flying there, or maybe that's one of those squirrel suits.
Robert Kirkman, if you're watching or listening, let us know what Skybound means.
What a skybound is. With art by Lorenzo De Felici. Did I say that right?
Sure.
Yeah.
What would I have seen him on before?
I didn't. You hold it up.
I wasn't paying attention.
So this is from Robert Kirkman, creator of The Walking Dead, and there's a little essay in the back where he talks about how this is a big long-term plan he has going on, and he's been working on it for a long time. I am not traditionally what you would refer to as a Walking Dead fan. I've read some of the comics, I've seen some of the shows, neither of them really worked for me. But Kirkman himself is an amazing creator. He does really good, in-depth, long-form storytelling. You know, Walking Dead's over 150 issues. Invincible's just wrapping up at 140-something, 130, over 100 issues. And he's done smaller scale stuff for Marvel and DC, like the Irredeemable Ant-Man and the original Marvel Zombies, which was obviously a huge thing. So what is this story about? Frack, I don't know. It is a near future period, maybe even kind of an alternate present, where some weird things has happened. Part of the world got sucked into an hellscape, post-apocalyptic dimension-y thing, and it's about what happens when that happens. And I really like the way Kirkman's worked this into our society. All too often, when we get a horrifying event in an apocalyptic future, humanity goes one of two ways. They either all, abandon their infighting and become noble and, Star Trek up and get rid of money and disease and everything, or they just start wearing leather and parts of tires and go Mad Max and everyone eats people. And Kirkman is a much more believable, much more human response to the apocalypse. People are still good, people are still bad, good things and bad things still happen, politics still suck. But I was really, really excited, not so much for this first issue. I do really enjoy the issue, and there were some things in here. I was kind of on the train, and then there were a few events and reveals that I really enjoyed in this first issue. And I won't spoil them because I want you to enjoy them as well. But I think what I'm really in for is the long haul. Kirkman clearly has a long-term plan, a big, epic story. And one of the benefits of being Robert Kirkman is you can have an epic story. He's already finished issue, 18, I think is what they said they're working on? It was either 13 or 18. So they're way ahead on this. It's going to stay on schedule. And because you're Robert Kirkman and he has the Walking Dead prestige, the power, the pull, he can just say, I'm going to spend this much money making this book, and it's going to get made whether you like it or not. Which is awesome. To have a creator really take creator-owned by the balls, and this is what we're doing. So I'm really excited to see his vision of this very human apocalypse, sort of apocalypse, because the rest of the world isn't sucked into the hellscape. There's like our world, but part of it is in a hellscape, and it's not great for people who are in the hellscape. But I really enjoyed it. Also from Robert Kirkman this week, the new volume of Walking Dead, that'd be number 29, and it's got this lady in a pink furry shirt.
Because we don't read The Walking Dead.
I don't, but I'm surely someone can.
Many of you do, though, and that's awesome. So, yes, Robert Kirkman has done horror with The Walking Dead, and also with Outcast. Robert Kirkman has done superheroes with Invincible, and now Robert Kirkman is doing science fiction. So, if you're down with that, you should check out Oblivion Song. Want to say welcome and hi again to Jess. Thanks for watching. And Monty, thanks for watching. Monty is quoting the Elephant Man. He's a goblin, not an animal. And John, thanks for watching. Wants to know if we have any good deals. We do, John. Buy something, we get to stay open. That is our deal.
Also, this month's book club book is Time and Vine by Tom Zoller. It's 25% off all month.
Yes.
Or up until the Saturday before the book club, which is the last Saturday of the month, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully if you're local, you can join us for our book club. Our first one went off, was it last week? Yeah, it was a week ago today.
Sure.
I think it went very well. We had a decent turnout. Lots of people who hadn't read 1602 before, many of us who hadn't read it in a while, and we had a good time. So, all right, we are looking forward to next month, or this month, whatever month we're in. My next pick is Gideon Falls #1 by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. You may recall that they are the team. This is a three-peat for Lemire and Sorrentino. They first worked together on Green Arrow during the New 52.
The good New 52 Green Arrow.
Yes.
Not the first one.
And then they moved over to Old Man Logan, which was excellent. Every issue was like my pick of the week every time it came out. And now they've got a creator-owned book from Image Comics called Gideon Falls, which is an urban horror, rural fantasy kind of thing. Really, Sorrentino could draw anything, and I would check it out. This is one of those. There are few artists that will get me to try a book. There are lots of writers that'll get me to pick up a book because they're writers. But Sorrentino is one of the few artists where I will basically check out anything that he does. It's amazing. So we've got, this is the first issue, so it's a setup issue, and we don't have a lot of answers. We we end up with a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. We're introduced to the two main characters. One could be a lunatic, could be crazy.
To be fair, any character could be crazy.
Yeah, but he kind of exhibits some signs, and he happens to see a psychiatrist too, so he's got that going for him. Mm-hmm. And then we also have a Catholic priest who's being relocated for reasons that we don't know. We may find out later. And there's some spookiness going on. It's definitely a book if you want to feel thrills and chills. No, maybe not the thrills. If you want the chills, you want to check out Gideon Falls #1 because there's some chilling, creepy stuff going on. And I'm on board. Like you were saying with Oblivion Song, Lemire is really good about telling great stories, and I will follow this story wherever it goes, but I'm on board from the first issue. It's, I think, the creepiest book of the week, although I did not read The Spider King, so...
it's definitely creepier than Spider King.
It is creepier
Spider King has horror, but...
The Creepy Book of the Week award goes to Gideon Falls #1. You should check it out. I'm done now.
Did you read Damnation? There's also an essay in the back here from Lemire talking about the genesis of the story, and this is something he's been working on for a long time as well. So if you like to follow stuff with creators, both that and Gideon Falls have kind of neat text in the back. Next up for me, we've got a couple new books coming out. We've got Rick and Morty presents The Vindicators!
Oh, did I ever hold my book up?
I don't know.
Gideon Falls.
I definitely did.
#1.
And it was probably my job.
That is your job. You had one job, Josh.
One job, didn't do it. So we've got Rick and Morty presents The Vindicators. This is a one-shot. They're going to be doing a whole series of one-shots quarterly throughout the year. We've got this. We've got Crumelopolis Michael. We've got Sleepy Gary and Pickle Rick. And those are all written by different creators. The Rick and Morty books are a lot of fun. The writing is probably not as good as the show, but what could be. But there is a lot, especially I think if you read comics and follow like the Marvel announcements and the DC announcements, they poke a lot of fun at the comics industry, the comics world, the comic book movie world in here, just like the original episode did. So this is Vindicators, I guess, 4, because this is after the last one. This is the all-new, all-different Vindicators, which look remarkably similar to the not-all-new, not-all-different Vindicators. But that is a lot of fun. If you're a Rick and Morty fan, I think it's worth a look, and it's just a one-shot, so you don't have to get invested in a mini-series or anything. And also out from IDW this week, we've got Spider King, written by Josh Van, with art by Simone D'Armini. And this is Vikings Meet Aliens. It's super fun. It is not scary. I mean, there's horror in here. There's all kinds of blood and murder and stuff, but it's not designed to
it's action.
To creep out. Yeah, it's
Sci-fi
action. It's fun. There's a lot of kind of fun humor. Vikings are stupid stuff.
No offense to any
I really like that we got aliens that are sufficiently alien. You know, they're not bipedal. They don't look like us, but green. They're super alien, which I think works really well with a more fantasy, mythic-based society like the Vikings. So lots of blood, lots of murder, lots of avenging my father, and take us to your leader.
Before I get to my final pick, I do want to mention the new issue of Avengers that's out this week. I don't know what the number is. I did not bring it with me. It is the current part of the weekly No Surrender storyline, and if you were turned off by the series for a variety of reasons, you may want to come back and check this one out. I think that there is a little bit of payoff in this issue, and it looks like the next issue will include more payoff because the Hulk is supposed to return in full glory. I don't know if that means he's naked or, but Hulk will be back in the next issue of Avengers. But this issue, yes, it's a Jarvis-centric issue, which was very cool. Oh, that's right, you didn't.
I didn't.
Read
I fell behind.
You should come back. If Avengers No Surrender didn't work for you initially, you should check out the current issue if you can find it, because I really liked it. There was some payoff. All right, finally for me this week, we have Superman number 42, Patrick Gleason, Peter Tomasi, someone Sanchez,
Rick Sanchez, I believe.
I don't think that's it. Did I say the number?
You did.
Superman 42. The beginning of a Bizarro World storyline. I need it back so I can talk about it.
Oh, okay. I'm
The
supposed to hold things. I'm
Bizarroverse.
not supposed
The
to hold things.
Bizarroverse Part 1. That's what it is. At first, I thought I was going to hate this issue
Because it's all Bizarro speak.
well, it's not all Bizarro
Well-
speak, but the beginning is a lot of Bizarro speak. And I thought, my Lord in heaven, I cannot read this issue. But I'm glad I stuck with it. It got to stuff that takes place on Earth involving the Kent family, Lois, Clark, and their son, Jonathan. And it continues the excellent run by Tomasi and Gleason. And I'm sure going to miss them when their time on Superman comes to an end and Brian Michael Bendis takes over. However, I am excited about Bendis writing Superman in action. But this Bizarro stuff is great. It introduces some new characters, possibly. And I think if you've been away from Superman for a bit, you should come back and check this one out.
In case you hadn't heard, every DC book this week reminds you and lets you know that Bendis is coming to write Superman. So
That's a lot of white space.
it is. Well, it draws the eye, though. Like, you're flipping through, you
does.
look at it, it's doing the job. It's just sort of,
Yeah, they could have put something there. I don't know. Bendis could have drawn a stick figure, because that's what he does. Good stuff. This team has done a great job of family storytelling, and I'm loving the heck out of it. So, although you may be a little turned off by the beginning of the book, stick with it, or you may be fluent in understanding Bizarro speak.
Yeah, it just takes a second to kind of click in.
And then it's...
part of it is that every writer writes Bizarro a little
Yeah.
differently. Like, once you get the flow for how Tomasi's doing it, it's not hard to read. It's just... And there is a certain... I mean, I enjoyed it once it clicked for me.
It's like
first
reading a
part.
foreign language. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to...
It takes a
It has
minute
to click. And then
to
once
start.
it did, I was off to the races and didn't have to stop and think, now, what do they mean by this?
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, this version of Crypto's not in that book. So I don't know why he's on the cover, but I don't know proof. He's not, because he has like a white cat, which is not this orange cat that is on the cover.
All right, before you carry on, I want to say hi to Jeff for joining us. The artist is not Dirty Sanchez. The art is... Oh, man. Did we ever decide who it was?
I said it was Rick Sanchez,
But it's not Rick
That's
Sanchez.
not real.
I don't know why they don't just put this stuff, like, universally in the same place. There we go. It might... it's Patrick Gleason art. I take that back. Sanchez is the anchor, so it could be Dirty Sanchez. And Monty says Bizarro Gothic. Yes, that is what it is. Bizarro Gothic. Good stuff. All right.
Last up for me, 2 books that are still awesome, but they were too awesome for me to not just assume you knew. Batman White Knight 6 of 8. This is Sean Murphy's love letter to Batman and the Joker and to Harley. And it's still super great. You should start at the beginning. Don't jump in here. This is 6 of 8. That'd be a bad idea. But
Just wait for the trade at this point.
It's starting. Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
Or pick up the single issues.
Yeah. It's starting to come back around to things, because this is an alternate reality where the Joker is fixed and tries to drive out the undesirable element of Gotham, which in this case is Batman. This dude, Sean Murphy, just loves the crap out of every iteration of Batman. There's so many little references to different things. We get to see a Batmobile we have not seen on a comic page in a while. But somebody asked me the other day, we were putting together a section for women creators, and they said, all right, well, we're past women in comics. Mm-hmm. And like, so what books have a really strong portrayal of women at DC? And, of course, I went to Wonder Woman and some of the others. But coming back there, I think really Batman White Knight may be the best male-written portrayal of women in the DC universe. Batgirl and Harley are far and away the most logical, reasonable. They're the people, and the bad guy is evil Harley. Not evil Harley. She has a name. The Joker 2.0 or ex-Joker or whatever she is. But the 3 women characters are really the leads. Like, Batman and the Joker are struggling with each other, but they're just being Batman and the Joker. The women are actually the most interesting part of the book by a wide margin, and this is easily my favorite interpretation of Harley, the original Harley version in here. So if that does it for you, White Knight's even more awesome. And Batman 42, Batman and Catwoman versus the entire Justice League. That's not really accurate. Versus the entire world. Tom King has managed to tell a story that I didn't think would be interesting beyond one issue for more than one issue, and I can't wait to see what happens next, because it's really engrossing. He can do no wrong with Batman at this point.
He can do no wrong.
And it's art by Mikkel Janin, who is very pretty and very suited to what he's drawing.
Okay. Another great week. Mm-hmm. But these are the comics that we think are the best. Want to give a shout out to the Barry Electronics office, who is watching. The entire office has stopped work and is watching this, and for that we apologize. But thank you to everyone for tuning in, and if you did enjoy this episode, give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're consuming it on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or your podcast network. We appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of you tuning in and the support that you give us. So that's it. Next week's going to be interesting. Josh isn't going to be here, so I have to decide whether I'm going to fly solo. Let's take a vote right now for the three of you that are watching live. Should I do a solo show next week?
I vote Mark does a solo.
Solo, an alter ego comic story, or should we wait and skip a week? I'll allow a moment for you to vote.
You know, the votes will still be there after. We don't have
Yeah.
to. That's not how. This isn't a... Oh, we got reporting from the 3rd District. The 75% of Jeff reporting.
This is like when you're videoing your grandparents and they think it's a still camera. Grandma, you can move. You can talk. Okay, so thanks for watching. I'm going to get up and turn off the camera. What is Josh going to do while I do that?
I'm just going back and read this book some more.
No songs, no commentary.
So which one's the psychopath?